Hi there, Caitlin. I got your email. I took some time to look at the problems and stuff out of the book that you were asking me about. Um, we're gonna try this the old-fashioned way. I haven't made one of these videos in it's probably been about 6 months since I last made one of these, so it's kind of a return to form for me. So we'll see what happens here when I try this. So use a good old-fashioned sheet of paper and a marker here to try to represent everything that's going on in the problem. The real trick to the series of problems that you asked me about on the homework is consolidating all of the information that they give you in the setup. Okay, you have to get past the setup before you can answer the specific questions that I assigned you in the homework set. Um, if you can get past the setup, the problems are actually pretty straightforward. It's just some simple arithmetic. It comes from some of the postulate stuff that we do. It's nothing super complicated. It really isn't. I know that I say stuff's easy all the time, but it's if you can get past the setup, the problems, the individual parts of the problem are actually pretty straightforward. So let's see here. Let's start off with the first piece of the information that's given to us, and that is that the measure of angle BAC is equal to 130 degrees. So that's what I have drawn here really quick here. This being a video on YouTube and stuff, you can hit pause and rewind at any time if I'm going too quick. Okay, so we have BAC here. So I just drew BAC, and I gave it an angle measurement of 130 degrees. That's the first piece. We're going to go through both parts of this. You're actually going to find out that there's a mistake that you can make while you're drawing these diagrams that requires you to kind of think outside the box, which is a good critical thinking exercise for you. It can be a little frustrating, but going through that process is important. So the next piece of information they give you is that the measure of angle EAC is equal to 100 degrees. Well, EAC, so here's, let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. So here's A, and here's C, and we have 130 degrees. So let's put E somewhere up over here, and we'll just say it's less than 100 degrees. So that'll give us a picture that looks kind of like this. Okay. All right, so there we go. So we end up with this picture. We add E to our diagram, and we have an angle measurement of 100 degrees. Yay. Cool. So that's the first two pieces of our information. We can't do anything with the next part of that second column. If you're looking at the book where they talk about the measure of those three angles all being equal, we can't quite do anything with that yet. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and do the other part of it, though, and that is that D is an interior angle of BAE. Okay, so that means that we're going to have D somewhere in between these 2 points. So let's go ahead and put D in there. Okay, you should end up with something that looks kind of like that. Okay, and then we're going to do E as an interior angle of DAF. So now that we don't know where F is yet, so we'll have to go into the next one. So F is an interior angle of EAC. So we have EAC, so we know F is somewhere in between here, so we'll go ahead and put F in there. All right, so I added F in there. So that's the diagram we should have right now. Then we'll go back to that one where E is the interior point of the angle DAF. So we have DAF. So somewhere in between DAF we have E, and there's E. Yay, so we have a nice consistent diagram. Now we'll go back to that one where we have the three angle measurements all being equal. So we know that the angle measurement of BAD is equal to the angle measurement of EAF, and the measure of the angle of FAC. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and I'll explain the notation I'm using. It's something that's oddly not covered in the book. It's something I remember from when I took geometry. So there's BAD. Here is EAF. And where's the last one? FAC are all equal measurements. So take a look at the diagram that I've put together here. So we don't know what these angle measurements, let me hold this up a little bit. We don't know what these angle measurements are just yet for BAD and BAC. So what I've done is I've just marked them with a line, with an individual line. And all that says is that these three angles, even though they don't look like it in the diagram, in reality, given the information we've been provided, these three angles are the same. Okay? That allows us to do a little bit of arithmetic here. Okay? Let's see here. How much time do I have left here? This video has to be within 15 minutes here, so give me just a second here to kind of dig through here. Just a second. All right, here we go again. Got my information, so we can finish this up now. So we have this diagram that we've put together. Let's take a look at our information here and see if it makes sense. So we know that these two angles, so this angle and this angle, are equal. And we know that the sum of those angles is equal to 100 degrees by the information that's given to us. These two angles being equal, that means that those two angles have to be equal to 50 degrees. So let's go ahead and mark that. So that's 50 degrees, and that's 50 degrees. All right, so that's our diagram right now. Now then, we know that this angle and this angle and this angle are all equal by the constraints that are given to us in the problem. So this third angle, BAD, also has to be equal to 50 degrees. Let's go ahead and mark that really quick. Okay, this creates a problem for us. Because if we add together this angle, and this angle, we get 150 degrees. The problem, though, is that we are told that the angle BAC is only equal to 130 degrees. So there's a problem with our diagram here. And what we find out is that this angle that we put in here at 100 degrees, of EAC being equal to 100 degrees, that's not actually where that angle is. So this diagram is actually wrong. What we end up having to do is we have to move the point E to the outside. So E actually has to be down here. So let me grab a different sheet of paper here. Okay. So we're going to go back to the beginning here. That first diagram we did here, that was a good execution of those ideas, but we discovered a problem. So we have to figure out a way around that problem. What we end up with is, for our first two pieces, we end up with this as our diagram. So we still have our angle BAC, okay, 130 degrees. We have our angle EAC of 100 degrees. Yay! Okay, cool. So we did our first two parts here. Let's go ahead and add in the other pieces of information that we have here. So D is in the interior of BAE. So let me draw this really quick here. I know we're doing this over again. This is actually a really good critical thinking exercise, though, for you to go together here. So there's DAE. I just added DAE. Okay, so it's an interior angle of the It's an interior point of the angle BAE. All right. Next, we have that F is an interior angle of EAC, so that means F is going to be over here. Okay, so that's the diagram you should have when you add in the point F. Okay, when you add in the point F. And our last piece here is that E is an interior angle of DAF. So if we have DAF, E should be in between. So yay. It all works out. And now we have our triple angle equivalence. So BAD, EAF, and FAC are all equal angles. So this is the diagram that we're going to be working with. Okay, let me move my finger, get that out of the way, and you can kind of take a look. Take some time, pause, run through this, and think, and hit pause on the video. And go through and look at those constraints and make sure that this diagram is correct. I'm pretty sure it's correct, anyways. So, all right. Once you're satisfied with this diagram, we can answer the question. So the first one, I forget what this is. I believe it's 31. It's the angle of FAC. So we want to know what FAC is. Oh, hold on. Before we jump into those, let's go ahead and figure out what these angles are, since we have them marked on here. Okay. We know a lot about them. We know they're all equal, and we have some angle measurements to work with here. So let's see here. We know, since the angle EAC is 100 degrees and that EAF, put this up, and that EAF and that FAC are equal, and they add together and they're both equal, and they add up to be 100, that means that these two individual angles have to be equal to 50 degrees. So let's mark those as 50 degrees each. That means that this third angle, DAB, also is 50 degrees. So we'll go and mark that as 50 degrees. I'm trying to go a little bit fast. This video can only be like 15 minutes. I've already used up like 9.5 minutes. I'm trying to go a little bit quick here. All right, that's good. So we're trying to find the angle. Let's see here. The first one is FAC. So let's see here. So we have FAC. So we're looking at this angle. We found that. That's 50 degrees. Yay. That's your first one. The next one is FAB, so F, A, and B. So let's look at it this way. We don't know anything about this area right over here. So let's add this up. So we have 130 degrees. That goes from B to C. We now need to get from C to F. Okay? To get from C to F is 50 degrees. So we have 130 degrees plus 50 degrees. So the angle FAB is going to be equal to 130 plus 50 degrees, which is 180 degrees, which makes sense when you kind of look at our diagram here. It looks kind of like a straight angle to us. So 180 degrees makes sense for the given the way our drawing's done. Okay, and then the last angle is FAD. So here's FAD. So we're looking at this section in here. We know that FAB is 180 degrees, and we have some information about the angles surrounding it. We know we have a 50-degree angle and a 50-degree angle and some mystery angle. Okay, this mystery angle. So we know that the sum of these three angles needs to be equal to FAB, which is 180 degrees. We have 50 degrees, 50 degrees, and some mystery angle. It's all equaling 180. 50 plus 50 is 100. That makes this angle 80 degrees. So to find FAD, we're just going to do 50 degrees plus 80 degrees, which gives us 130 degrees. So this angle in here should be 130 degrees, even though it doesn't look like 130 degrees. This angle, this portion here, I'm sorry, let's try it again. This angle, FAD, is 130 degrees. All right. I hope that answers your questions. If you have any more questions, just send me an email and I'll try to answer it again as best as I can. All right, there you go.